Let's redraft the first round for the second half of the season. Up next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Thursday, July 13th. I am Frank Sanford, joined by Scott White, and we're redrafting the first round in a 5x5 Roto League for the rest of the season. Scott, you have the first overall pick.
Okay, well, that's the easiest pick, right? It's Ronald Acuna, who is on, gosh, what is his pace even? He entered the All-Star break with over 20 homers and 30 steals. So, he has a chance at like a 40-80 season. And the thing is, you look at his expected stats, they're actually better than his true stats. His expected batting average is 351, which is shouldn't be possible mathematically, but a big reason why is he's cut his strikeout rate in half from his previous career best, and just has become a better player all the way around. And so Acuna is number 1.
Second overall, I am taking Fernando Tatis, who is currently the 19th overall player in Roto, despite playing about 20 less games than everybody else, hitting .288 with 16 home runs and 14 steals. That is a 35-30 pace over a full season. He's cut his strikeout rate, still hitting the ball really hard. Just has to get it in the air a little bit more here in the second half, and I do think more home runs could be on the way for Fernando Tatis. Scott, you are up with the third pick.
I'm going to go with Shohei Otani here with a couple of caveats. One is that if you play in a league with daily lineups, he should obviously be the number 1 choice because you're able to get all his pitching stats, the majority of his hitting stats, swapping him out between those two positions, depending on what role he's filling that day. But in weekly leagues, you can only choose one or the other, of course, so that kind of cuts his value in half. But, just what he's done as a hitter has been insane enough to make him, I think, deserving of a top 3 pick. He is coming off like the hottest month of his life as a hitter, so maybe his pace numbers are a little ahead of what they should be, but still, taking Otani third.
Fourth overall, I am going with Freddie Freeman, who is currently the number 3 overall player in Roto, and he finished as a number 3 player last season as well. He's batting .320. He's on a 30 home run, 20 steal pace. His expected numbers look fantastic. The counting stats are awesome in that Dodgers lineup. Freddie Freeman, he may be 33 years old, but he's still playing amazing right now. Scott, you're up with the 5th overall pick.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Mookie Betts here based on the way he finished the first half. Again, he was so hot that I think his home run pace is maybe beyond what we can reasonably expect from Betts. But he's in a great lineup like Freeman. Betts ahead of Freeman. They're both on pace for more than 130 runs. And in addition to the power numbers, the run numbers, Betts has this new special ability to play second and shortstop as well as the outfield, which makes him all the handier.
All right, 6th overall, I am going with the young buck, Corbin Carroll. And I will say this, if he wasn't dealing with this shoulder injury that we've seen the past couple of weeks, I think he would be the 4th overall pick. But as a result, we get those high floor plays, Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts ahead of him. Corbin Carroll, an amazing first half, hitting .289 with 18 home runs and 26 steals. That is a 30-45 pace. It's just a matter of staying healthy and that shoulder not being an issue. If that happens, I think he's likely, a top 5, top 7 player rest of season. Scott, you're back up with the 7th pick.
Jose Ramirez is a little behind pace what he normally is, but the data shows no skill decline for Jose Ramirez, and he was picking up the pace before the All-Star break. So I think he's going to have a more typical second half and remains clearly the best third baseman in fantasy.
I think it kind of opens up here. You can make the case for a few other hitters, but I feel like we got to get a pitcher in there. So let's do it. Let's take Spencer Strider, who by my estimation is the best pitcher on a per inning basis so far this season. The most strikeouts in baseball, the best K- walk rate, the best Sierra in all of baseball, and it's not really close. The only question mark we have is the workload. Is he going to start to wear down as the season goes on? He only threw 130 innings last year, so that's a slight concern, but by my estimation, he is, again, the best pitcher on a per inning basis. That's Spencer Strider. And Scott, you're back up with the 9th overall pick.
Got to go with Corey Seager. I've always thought he had the potential to produce like a first rounder, to be a Freddie Freeman type hitter. And so far this year, granted a smaller sample size because he missed time with a hamstring injury, but that's exactly what he's been, batting .353. His expected batting average is .334, which is almost as ridiculous as Acuna's. And in addition to having the great power numbers and the batting average, he's in a Texas Rangers lineup where everybody's putting up ridiculous run and RBI totals up and down the lineup, which elevates Seager all the more.
I am going to go ahead and take an outfielder here, and I'm going to go with Kyle Tucker, 10th overall, who had a bit of a down May, but outside of that, the numbers bounced back here in June. He had a really big month. He's got the power and the speed, nearly as many walks as strikeouts since June 1st as well. So hopefully Yordan Alvarez comes back, Jose Altuve comes back, and the counting stats are going to start to take off here for Kyle Tucker. I'm going to go ahead and take him 10th overall. Scott, your last pick, 11th overall.
Well, I'm going to count on Yordan Alvarez coming back. He is on the verge of a rehab assignment, already recovering from an oblique injury. If he wasn't dealing with that, he would probably be in the conversation for the top 5 with the way he's performed both this year and last. And I think he'll be back within the next week or two.
I'm going to go ahead and finish up the first round and take Julio Rodriguez, who the batting average has been a letdown this year, but 13 home runs, 22 steals. The power and speed has been there. Counting stats have been solid as well. Actually hitting the ball harder this year than he did last year. He's just got to lift it a little bit more. Too many ground balls in the first half for Julio Rodriguez, but overall, very pleased with what we've seen from him in his second season. So that's going to finish up our first round. Who do we miss out on? Let us know. Tweet at us or let us know in the YouTube comments. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Audacy app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.